Hey, welcome everyone. GC 365, day 219. We are more than halfway there. I'm Pastor James from the Lake Stevens campus, and with me is my special guest. Who are you?
I'm Danilo Opiniano. I'm over here at the Mill Creek campus. I'm their audio engineer.
Audio engineer. Yeah. So he works here at the Mill Creek campus. I work at the Lake Stevens campus, and now worlds are colliding. It is fantastic time to be alive, right?
Yeah, it's like the Avengers.
Yeah,
but in like real life.
It is kind of like the Avengers. Who are you then?
Probably like one of the understudy people.
You're one of the understudy. So you're
That's
not even one of the major
like.
Avengers.
Well, I mean,
which hero would you be right there, right now? Who's
I
your
would
guy?
like to be. Oh my gosh, I always looked up to Iron Man.
I was gonna say Iron Man's pretty dope.
So does that make me Spider-Man then?
I think that might possibly make you
That'd
Spider-Man.
be awesome.
It's okay. It's all good. I want to be Thor just because it's Chris Hemsworth and he's a pretty Thor kind of.
He's got a hammer and stuff.
He's got a hammer. And he's a demigod.
You're building a church right now.
Just hammer it down. That is good stuff. Yeah. But anyhow, let's get back into the actual scripture here. Yeah. We are talking through Ezra. You guys are following along with us. Major stuff happening. Ezra is rebuilding the temple. Mm-hmm. Big deal, because the temple is not existent at this point, right? Because they were conquered because of all the sin from all the kings before them. And now the temple is gone and the city is completely destroyed.
Yeah. So in Ezra, when I was reading it, I didn't know if like there was a temple there before that was previously dedicated to the Lord and it was destroyed. I don't know what was going on.
So what was happening historically is Israel is basically wiped out, right? So after all of the Manasseh and all this, God says, I'm taking my hand off of you. You're going to be in exile. So the Babylonians came, the Egyptians came, conquered them, tore down the walls, tore down the temple, took all the valuables, and took all the people. So essentially, this entire city has been, or this entire country has been abandoned. It's like a ghost town, like a complete desolate Chernobyl style ghost town. Like there's no one living there.
It's been without a temple and like without like a government, without an economy. Wow.
Yeah, they were stripped of everything.
Wow.
Completely because of the sin that they committed against God. So God allowed this to happen to them. Cool. And now Ezra is coming back because God placed on his heart, I'm ready for you to rebuild the temple. Mm-hmm. Let's do this. So that's what they do. They rebuild the temple. And as I'm reading through this, there's a lot of problems at this point, right?
Yeah.
Which it makes sense. It's a building project.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm in the middle of a building project.
There's a lot of problems.
There's a lot of problems.
In building.
Constantly. And if you were to talk to Brian over at Woodinville, he would tell you that he had zero problems building the Woodinville campus. That's a lie. That's sarcasm. But he would say the same thing. There's lots of opposition. Holy cow. There was Egyptian opposition. There was Babylonian opposition. There was even opposition from the own Israelite people. They're like, we don't want to come back. It's a ghost town.
So what's coming to my mind is like, what kind of questions are you facing when you're not rebuilding, but when you're building this other campus over Lake Stevens? Like, what are some problems that are like up front?
Well, the main problem is, I mean, there's always a money problem, right? Because it's going to cost millions of dollars to build this thing.
Oh boy. But
we have found favor with the city of Lake Stevens. They have been amazing to us.
That's awesome.
They have been supportive. I've flat out heard them say to me, we were really excited about this. So we have favor from Lake Stevens. So I can't complain in that aspect of it. There's a financial thing. There's a neighborhood thing. There's always going to be a spiritual climate as well, too, where people just don't want a church. Mm-hmm. People have said to me as they're asking me, what are you building here? They'll stop in and I'll say church. And they're like, we don't need another church.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's bold.
How do you receive that?
I just receive it. I'm like, well, I'm sorry to hear that. And usually it's because of two things. It's either they have not had a God experience or they've had a negative God experience. And one of those two things is what's driving their actions. And in that moment, my hope is that once we build, they give us just a chance to have that God experience.
Yeah, see, because what my first worries are, because I visited the campus and it's seriously just like a big lot of grass and gravel and then a big screen for James to speak
for Sunday
with.
Service. Yeah.
And like a tent. And I'm thinking, because it's in the middle of a neighborhood, I'm pulling up to it. I'm like, I'm in a neighborhood right now that says I'm really close and it's between houses. So yeah, I'm thinking like, oh man, when worship starts to begin here, it's like, is it going to be too loud for residents right nearby and all that kind of stuff? All these questions come to mind.
I know. We're hopeful that it's not going to be a problem. We've had some sound issues, and I've talked to the neighbors that have had sound issues with us, and they've complained, and we've talked it out, and we came to a resolution, and now they're like super supportive as well too. Wow. So it's cool. Nothing that I'm doing. It's just I'm being proactive in talking to them. But those are some of the oppositions that Ezra faced as well too, and it's something that we're going to continually face as we move through this whole process. And building something new is really cool. I mean, it's really cool.
It's fun.
It is not something that I'm like, oh man, we're building a new church. It's so dumb. No, I'm super excited about building this. Yeah. And I'm super excited that we're gonna let the city use it the way they want to use it. So
I hope that attitude trickles down from like whoever you're leading with the church too, because I had a few friends who had their church rebuilt a couple of years ago, and for a year and a half they were in high school, and they lost like most of their congregation, and it was really hard to keep like members of the church who would serve every Sunday on the team as well, because they would find exhaust, and it's like, oh man, we just don't have the resources anymore. But now the church has totally flourished into something really cool.
Yeah.
Really big.
Which is awesome when you really see that, right? When you see like that rebirth. And if we jump to the New Testament, Paul is kind of in the same situation. He's church planting. That's what Paul's doing. I mean, this is just a history of church planting. And he's going through talking about, this is what you need to do. And the word that really kind of stuck into me in the New Testament reading was the word unity.
Yeah.
Paul just kept hammering in the idea of unity, of coming together as believers, as coming together as servants, as workers, as leaders, all these things. And he's really just hammering that in, and he's painting an important picture of what I think we need to do, not just at Gold Creek, but as believers, right? And here's an example of it. I'm at the Lake Stevens campus. You're at the Mill Creek campus. We don't really hang out during the week working together because
we haven't hung out.
Yeah.
We just don't.
I mean, we cross paths and things like that, and we talk, and we're like, "Hey, how's it going? Oh, it's good, and we do those kinds of things." But I was just thinking, man, it'd be kind of fun to do a little 365 with you, because I don't really know you.
I'm glad you asked me.
Ah.
I didn't know you either, and sometimes people have a quick discussion before these to kind of have like a sort of roadmap for what they're going to discuss. But what I like about James is that he doesn't typically do that, so it becomes like a more raw episode. So I'm more that speed.
Well, I just want to hear your thoughts more than I want to hear you necessarily just kind of tell me what you think you should be saying, right?
And and about unity too. I mean, in Proverbs it was written that like a wise king will scatter the wicked, and it just reminds me that like anytime people unite, especially in the habits that they share together, those habits will kind of amplify. So I think it can be for good or for bad. It's like
for
as
sure.
Christians, like when I think of the word church, it's not a building. It's like a group of believers trying to serve Jesus in whatever kind of medium that is.
Why was Jesus so
Jesus. No, I have a
sorry.
Yeah, I think when I talk. So
that's good. You should be thinking before you talk, so that's good. Yeah. No, I just liked how you said it. I was like, okay, Jesus, bring us all back in. Jesus, it's fun stuff. But I totally agree, and the idea of unity is not always easy, because you're right. You could be united and go in the wrong direction. I mean, it could be absolutely easy. You and I could grab 6 people and we're supposed to go north, and we all go south, and we're united in going south when we're supposed to be going north. Yeah. And Paul is teaching, be careful, guys. I mean, follow God, follow him. He is your compass, your beacon. This is where you're supposed to go. Yeah. Don't worry about everything else. Worry about following God, following Jesus, which then goes into Psalms. I love it because I'm reading Psalms and it's David talking. And David just keeps, over and over again, if you read through Psalms, one of the central themes is honor the Lord. I mean, that is like one of the most central themes. One of the others is also, obviously, he will provide, and he's with you. He'll take care of you. But in this one in particular, it's honor the Lord. And I feel like that's our goal. And we're talking about unity, church building, any of those things. The bottom line is, if we don't honor the Lord, God is not going to bless it. Yeah. He's not going to be with it. If we're not there to honor him, if our hearts are not wanting to honor who God is and who Jesus is with our lives, actions, everything that we do, I don't believe that God's going to be like, oh yeah, you guys are terrible people. Let's just keep doing this. Let's build a church. Oh, I love terrible people building a church. That's typically not how God works, right?
No, yeah. When I think about honoring the Lord, I mean, the Lord is is eternal, and I'm far from that. I know I'm not going to be here that long, so it's like if I'm going to contribute to what the Lord wants to do with us as man, you know, it's like I don't have to, but I get to lay down a lot of things that I feel like would have gain for me, so that the Lord gets gain for his people. You know?
Yeah. A friend of mine, and you know, he used to always say, you know, my goal is to live to make him famous.
Yeah.
And that was my friend Moy would always say that. And I just always loved it. He's like, live to make him famous. I'm like, that's a dope way to say it. So I've always appreciated that.
I think a lot. I think I'm going to start saying that.
You can start using that. He actually
cool.
had shirts made and said, live to make him famous. It was kind of cool. If he flipped it, it was like an inside out shirt. It would say evil if you did it wrong. Like, you know, so anyhow, but that's kind of all the time we have right now. I wanted to end with that, honoring the Lord. I think today, as you go out today, as you finish whatever it is you're doing, as you're getting ready to do whatever you're doing, remember that it's all about honoring the Lord with your life, your words, your actions, your thoughts, and the way that you treat people shows how you treat God. So my encouragement to you
too.
Yeah, it all comes back to you. My encouragement to you, honor the Lord today with what you do, what you say, and how you act. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks.